powerful reading from the Gospel this morning. It's always a powerful reading from the Gospel, but a very powerful reading from the Gospel because we hear Jesus lamenting over Jerusalem. Lamenting over Jerusalem. Jerusalem means city of peace. I also think it's kind of ironic that Jerusalem means city of peace, when actually quite often throughout history, Jerusalem has been a city that has known war. I think it's odd, but I think it's also a truth. Because if Jerusalem is a city of peace, if, as it is for Jewish, Christian and Muslim traditions, a city which has a special place in the heart of God, is a city that in many senses reveals the reality of what humans are doing and how humans in many senses, how we are distant from the call of God to peace. Jerusalem in a microcosm shows us what's going on in the world, which is largely, in many places, war and violence. We've heard a lot about one particular place in the last couple of weeks on our TV screens here in England, but we know just from members of our congregation that wars are going on all the time. They don't necessarily hit our TV screens here in the West, but they go on all the time. People are here from Ethiopia, from Eritrea, from Nigeria, from Kurdistan, where wars are raging and do rage and have raged, and other places in the world, Cameroon. But they don't make our TV screens in the West. And what's happening at the moment is dreadful and awful, but it's always happening. And it's always happening in this world. And it's always something we should resist and stretch our heart and compassion to connect with those people who are victims. And so Jesus speaks quite clearly here, saying how much he longs to be able to stretch his wings like a mother bird stretches her wings. It's a beautiful image, it's an image which is there in the Old Testament of God as a divine wing bearer whose wings cover God's people. And there's another reference to Jesus when he comes to Jerusalem. A few chapters later in chapter 19, where Jesus comes to the city of Jerusalem, looks over it and weeps. And weeps and says, if only you knew the ways of peace. Because he knows that human violence is going to lead to the destruction of Jerusalem. Of course, Luke, when he writes his Gospel, knows that Jerusalem has been destroyed. Violence leads to violence, leads to violence. And God weeps. God weeps at our violence. Our response to the violence of the world should be to weep, to mourn, to lament, not to take sides. Weeping, mourning, lamenting is what Jesus gives us. He laments as he approaches Jerusalem and knows that the violence is going to destroy the city that has a special place in God's heart. Lamentation should be our response to bombs. Lamentation should be our response to sanctions. Some of you know war zones better than I went to the war zone once. The war zone of Iraq after the invasion. And I saw people who had suffered from sanctions which were instituted for years people who lived in little hovels, who spoke of how they struggled during the time of sanctions. Sanctions in itself is a form of violence. When instituted in a way they've been instituted now, but as they're instituted in a way against people in Iran. You don't damage the dictators, you damage the people. So lamentation, as Jesus laments, should be our response to war. And also our response to war should be to stand. Stand with Jesus. Paul, in the reading this morning, talks about that our citizenship is in heaven. That's a passport we carry. That's a nationality we hold. Heaven. God's kingdom. God's hope. The nationality we hold is a one of universal humanity, because that's what Christ calls us to. Our citizenship isn't about UK passports, or it's important that we can get them. Our citizenship isn't about the identity of our nation, although sometimes there is an importance to be able to celebrate that, particularly if people have attempted to crush that out of others. But our real citizenship is in heaven, with Jesus as our King. Not Putin, not Biden, not Johnson, not even the Queen. Jesus is our King, and our King calls us to walk the path of peace. And in difficult times, as I said last week, to chart the difficult territories. To walk the path of peace, which can often put us in the way of insult and hatred, but it's a path of call to walk. And Paul also says today that we should stand firm. Stand firm in Christ's peace. Stand firm in Christ's peace. So this time that we're being encouraged, I heard that a school, a primary school, that teaches Russian, has been pressurized to stop teaching Russian. Dostoevsky has been withdrawn from some reading lists or something. The Russian ballet, which has nothing to do with Russia, it's just a Russian ballet that has bookings to withdraw. That's dangerous stuff. That's dangerous stuff. We have no sign of Jesus. And Jesus calls us to rise above the warring of the powers and principalities of this world and speak his compassion and peace, his justice and hope. But in Jesus' terms, not in government terms, not in NATO's terms, not in Putin's terms, but in Jesus' terms. And that vision is that the world will be Jerusalem. And that's a Christian vision. The vision that Jerusalem will rise up in our hearts, will descend from heaven, and the world will be in Christ's peace. That's the hope we hold as Christians. That's what we're looking towards. That's what our sights should be set upon. I think as the old spiritual says, eyes on the prize. And our eyes need to be on the prize in difficult times. Our eyes need to be on the prize of God's kingdom, the prize of God's peace, the prize of God's hope. Nobody else's but God's hope. For us, the promise that God has given us. that we will live in peace. We can live in peace. And the call, the challenge to each one of us here and to us as a community and as a church to embody that peace as much as we can in the here and now. And to allow ourselves to be challenged by the gospel here. To allow ourselves to be challenged by Jesus. And in being challenged by Jesus, to resist the challenges of the world for taking sides and taking easy answers. Let's stand firm in our city